Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County for Wednesday, September 5th, 2018. I am the Nighthawk, along with our studio director, back from his vacation in Seattle last week, Zach. And Duke, I'm trying to remember Seattle's nickname.
As the name of the city?
City's nickname.
Jeez, I'm not sure. I'm sure it's got one, but Zach, does Seattle have a nickname? I'm not. Nothing that comes to mind. I'm sure it's got one, but sorry, nothing. It's not a Queen City like Burlington.
So you've been there. I've been there. It's cloudy all the time.
You've been there. But what's interesting, a stat I mention in my column once in a while. You think of Seattle raining all the time. Guess what? Two cities have about the same exact amount of precipitation each year.
Burlington and Seattle.
Very good. Burlington, about 36 to 38 inches.
But it does have a high overcast percentage.
Yeah.
Now, if that's the Duke talking right there, and this guy to my immediate left, I'm avoiding because I'm probably going to have a bad show tonight because unbeknownst to me, it was his bright idea to put me on this side of the table. I have been sitting at that side of the table for 15 and a half years. And the rookie comes in here and says, gee, I think I want the Nighthawk to sit here. Now, he shows up before I do, and by the time I showed up, Zach, the studio director, said, sorry, Hawk, I don't have enough time to change. So if I have a poor effort tonight, blame it on me. Blame it on Nick Mumley, Reds.
Hawk, well, I've got every bit of confidence that you're going to be just fine.
I'm not feeling it right now, but I will tell you one thing, Red, it was hot today.
It was. I was lucky enough to be... Okay.
Hey,
how hot was it?
Oh, it was so hot that Tabasco sauce tastes mild.
Wow.
Okay. It's so hot that corn on stalks started popping today. Okay. It was so hot that cows were giving evaporated milk.
Wow.
It's so hot that I'm sweatier than a politician on election day. Okay. That's it.
And it was, for the record, Burlington, I can only assume, had 90 plus today.
Well, I can tell you, I did go to Burlington today, and on the way home, my thermometer, my vehicle is very accurate.
Yeah.
Briefly, it hit 95 degrees.
Yeah, so today was the 17th 90 in Burlington. The average being about 5.
And I can tell you, since records have started, you notice I'm good where I don't say all time, like a lot of people. But what do we think? 1886, right around that?
I think 1883, maybe. Yeah, you're close.
When Burlington started keeping weather records, 2018. And they use it for the calendar months of June, July, and August, was the second warmest summer since.
Oh, it's ever, because I even was hearing hottest summer, and I heard Sharon Meyer was my source. Channel 3 said Burlington had the hottest July. She said it hottest July and hottest August, and tied for the hottest summer. That sounds like
they said,
same difference.
I didn't write it down. It might have been 1946, something.
When there were 26 days in the 90s. But
back in 46?
46, I think it was.
Oh, okay. Well, that would make sense. Then my memory is pretty good.
But pretty hot.
So I'm going to start with my outrage of the week.
Let me guess. I bet you went out and bought Nike sneakers today. Have you got your Nike sneakers on order?
I've got 3 pairs coming in Tuesday.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
I can only assume you will never.
Shocked.
Probably ever.
I was shocked that they took a coward like Colin Kaepernick as their poster child of the Nike company. Now,
I wouldn't put it that way, but it does seem like not a very good choice to me.
And I didn't check the stock market today, didn't have time, but I can tell you the stock market on Nike went 3% down. Right. That was the beginning of the outrage. I bet they were down to 5%. I actually did call the corporate headquarters
did you
yesterday.
Really?
Talked to a guy, and I said, I'm going to be very polite about this, but I cannot believe that you folks would be stupid enough to take a guy who's anti-American, anti-police, a racist, to represent your company. And I kind of went on, and I told him, again, very politely, very calm, that I will never wear another piece of Nike apparel again, and more importantly, nor will I ever buy a piece of Nike apparel. If that's the way you want to treat your clients. And I said, and this is one of my favorite sayings, all life is about choices. That's all life is making a choice, and hopefully it's the right choice. I said, you folks made your choice. Now my choice is I will be buying different sports apparel.
And I'm sure that they are very, very upset
The guy you talked to, his
that one
response?
guy.
What was
Nick,
his response?
come on, you put me at the end of the table this week. Take it easy on me. Well, listen, don't. So and the guy, he just didn't say anything. And after I got done, after about 2 minutes of just verberating,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right word.
No, we know what you mean.
Using a lot of verbs. He said,
hyperventilating, whatever.
well, sir.
Venting is probably the
venting.
word you want.
He goes, well, sir, is there anything else I can help you with today? I mean,
You should have said, Hawk, well, you've heard my bad feelings, but if you send me if you send me some free sneakers, I might try to go easier on you.
Okay. Will the ad, this is from MSN off the computer today during the 1 o'clock hour. And at that time, there was 238,000 plus votes. Will the ad affect your future purchase of Nike products? 10% said, I plan to buy more. 30% said, I planned not to change. 17, this is the big one, 17 says, I plan to buy less, and 43% says, I'm boycotting them.
Is that right?
Okay, so you add 17 and 43.
This is a legit.
MSN on the computer is a legit company.
Yeah.
So that's if you ask me what it would be, I'd say half the country, and there's the stats right there. And I also can tell you, watching the news last night, and this kid watches more online than I do, there were a lot of sneaker burnings going on the video. People putting gas on it.
That doesn't make a difference, though. Nike already got the money from them, so like I don't understand why people are doing that.
Do we have a call, Nick? Or what's
Zach.
Mr.
Okay.
Zach?
See, again, I'm visibly upset here sitting at the end of the table. It doesn't even look right. Good evening, caller. You're the first one up tonight on the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County.
Hey, how we doing, guys?
Hey, how you doing?
Tuned in. My TV must be sideways or backwards. Something's going on. Nighthawk, you're on the wrong side.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell the Nighthawk that.
I know. I'm only picking.
I give the kid some compliments the last couple of weeks. Now he's taking the show over.
That's Slick Nick.
Yeah.
Slick Nick?
Apparently I'm a little too slick.
A couple of things. The first thing, and I did no research, but isn't Seattle something like the Big Needle or the Point or the nickname of the city? Doesn't it have to do with that
Wasn't it like
tower
the
with
space,
a point on
there's
it?
a space needle
It's got
there.
the Space Needle there, but we're talking kind of its main nickname, and I think it's got one, but it's not coming to my mind. It does have the Space Needle there, of course. What is Seattle?
Well, Nick is looking it up.
Not to my mind neither. It only gets worse, I guess.
I think Portland, Oregon's the Rose City. I forget. Yeah, Nick, maybe you can come up with that.
Emerald City.
The Emerald City.
I knew it was
Thank you.
something. I should have come up with that. I should have come up with that. My fault. My bad.
That Nike thing. Now, the representation of this guy is just absurd. Now, Nike, they employ 80% women with slave wages, 20 cents per hour in China. It's slave labor, 12 hours a day. This is what Nike is made of. This is Nike's foundation. And a lot of that 20 cents an hour is spent or goes back to the employer for the meals that are served. So the 20 cents an hour these women make, it's kind of an artificial wage because much of the money is spent right within the company there.
Caller, let me interrupt you. Thank you for bringing that up because I was kind of rushing with my notes. But the whole word, the hypocrisy of Nike in using Kaepernick's word, the oppression in this country, and that a guy smarter than me brought that same point out. You want to use oppression, look at the oppression of the slave labor in China that Nike is having these folks make their sneakers. I didn't know it was 20 cents an hour, but I know they don't make very much. So, shame on Nike. Don't preach to me.
And 80% of the workers are women. So, it's kind of a slap to the women. And like I say, the wages that they do make most of that money stays right within the company for the food, the transportation to get there. But I really, it's hard to figure out the point that Nike is trying to make. I just don't get it.
Well, I think that they're trying to just reach out to, the younger age group, because, I mean, obviously the younger age group right now, under 35, I guess you could say, is going to be a lot.
Let's talk millennials.
Right, millennials. They're going to reach out to millennials because they want. Because millennials are the majority of the people that are buying their products. You look at millennials, the majority of them have this opinion that Kaepernick should be in the league. Kaepernick's been done wrong. So
okay,
financially, it makes sense.
No, let me stop you. I'm 60 years old.
But do you agree with that?
I buy sneakers. I can tell you right now, I have a heck of a lot more money than a 20-year-old has, okay? So if they buy one pair, I'm buying 10 pair. Okay, so sneakers is a universal product. I don't care if you're 8 years old or 80 years old.
But demographics are still key with any selling anything.
A youngster, well, I will give you, we're a Michael Jordan before a 60-year-old will. I'll hand you that.
If you ask a bunch of you young people, 20 years old, who Kaepernick is, nobody will even know. The face of your franchise, Nike, should not be Kaepernick whatsoever. Take like a Benedetti or a name that people know in sports, but to take a bum like Kaepernick and I like I say, I don't get it unless Nike does want to go out of business. And as far as selling stuff, I work with a bunch of young people, too, that, they're very young family, struggling, not an extra dime. As Nighthawk said, your money spenders are your 50 years and older. Yep. You look at any sport event, it's people, us older people that are sitting in there. But for Nike to try to reach out to the younger people with Kaepernick as the face of the franchise, it makes no sense.
Yeah. Now, somebody suggested, and I can't remember, and I was rushing, the slogan Kaepernick had.
Just do it.
No, it was the two lines.
Risk everything.
Can you get that, that up? But if they would have taken Pat Tillman, who was an NFL player for the Arizona Cardinals, he was a safety. He wore long hair, pretty good player, tough. Of course, he joined the Army Rangers, and he was killed by friendly fire back in 2004. He left the NFL in the height of his career. He was so patriotic that he joined right after 9/11, then was killed by our own people in friendly fire. That once Nick says the saying, and you remember who Pat Tillman was, that would make sense. Go ahead.
Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything.
Okay, sacrificing everything.
And I agree
How about
with you
your
there.
life? That's sacrificing everything. Kaepernick's still getting money from his left-wing buddies.
I agree with you there. I don't think that the message on the ad is the correct one. However, putting Kaepernick in an ad, I think Nike is, making a good statement here for the people, because, listen, I think that of those, 20 to 35-year-olds, yes, there's not as many sports fans as your generation.
Yep.
But the sports fans that are around in that age are going to be more pro-Kaepernick than your age group, obviously. And so I think that that's why they make the ad, because, like Richard said, the demographics are there. They're pointing towards this group of these millennials, this group of people, because they know that this group of people buys more of their stuff, and they want to go to a guy that they can get behind and they follow.
Basic marketing, however.
He is not. Nobody even knows Kaepernick.
I disagree. I think he's I think Colin Kaepernick's a much bigger household name than most
who is
people.
Kaepernick? Nobody will know him.
But
and
Nick,
I disagree with that.
He is not a selling tool.
I think you go out on the streets, you ask, do you know who Colin Kaepernick is? More people are going to say yes than Mike Trout.
Yeah. Let me say this, Nick. You may raise the selling of your generation up 15%, but myself, the caller calling, you gain 15, you're going to lose 30% with us. It's going to be a net loss. And while we're talking here, type in what was Nike's loss on the stock market.
Yeah, it went down. It went down considerably yesterday. It's back up today. But I think that I just don't think that. I think Nike's just trying to make a statement here that they stand with Kaepernick, whether or not people that are on the opposite side. I don't think it matters to them, honestly. I think that they're prepared to, maybe lose a little bit to make this statement and put it out there, because I think that their loyal customers that are going to stick with them after this are going to stick with them after this. I don't think that it's going to mean a whole lot to them a month down the line. I think that they're putting this out here as a statement. I think Nike's going to be just fine because they made the statement. They've set their ground. I think they'll be okay.
Let me say this. I may not be as sharp as I was when I was 30 years old, but my memory's still pretty good. I will never forget this. I can guarantee you to the day I die, I will never, ever buy another piece of Nike. That I could not, other than a guy like Al Sharpton, there's probably a couple other people I could only come
please, that's the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The Reverend Al. I could come up with a worse face of the franchise.
I hate to tell you, this just isn't a huge issue to me, so you're not going to get much out of me.
It's not a huge issue because I think that for the people like you who are going to stop buying Nike or burn their Nike stuff, which, like I said, doesn't make any sense because they've already paid for it, I think there's going to be just as many people saying, I love this message, I'm going to buy more Nike stuff. Now, me personally, I don't like to get into politics. I don't agree with Nike putting this message out there. I don't like the stance that they're taking. I don't necessarily agree with the stance that they're taking, but it makes sense. I think it makes great sense financially to take a stand like this because, quite honestly, for me to disagree with this statement is I'm far into the minority for my age group.
So you think it's really a good move?
What's Nike going to do? Make a knee pad that says Nike and have them taking a knee during the national anthem?
And caller, again, a great point, because we talked about this 2 weeks ago. You and I won't see them taking a knee, because all the networks, including ESPN, have decided now not to show the national anthem. So for anyone who is taking the knee, we're not going to know about it because they knew that them as journalists, it's their job to cover what is happening on the sideline. But that blew up in their face because guys like me stopped watching football last September. Although I continued to watch the Giants, I would usually watch at least 3 games a week, if not more. I stopped, and bang, guys like me, I'm not seeing their advertising. They, as I said numerous times, have lost 18% viewership in the last 2 years. Other reasons go into that, but however, this kneeling during the anthem is the biggest reason. So they're avoiding the issue completely now.
Like at first, I saw this and I was like, I think that there's a lot better ways that they could be protesting for injustice. Personally, I think that maybe there is some stuff that could be done better. I think that they're making a good use of their position as professional athletes who have leverage on the younger generation. These people look up to these athletes. They can make this kind of message, but I don't agree with doing it at the national anthem. Now, you fast forward a couple years, I couldn't care less if the national anthem is played before a football game. I'm just there to watch the football game. If I want to listen to the national anthem, I can pull it up on my phone. I can go look at an American flag. I mean, it doesn't make a difference to me.
But let me say this about Kaepernick.
Oh, that's sad to hear.
There's a lot of bad people playing in the NFL, a lot of criminals playing in the NFL. There's a lot of people doing far worse things than what Kaepernick. They're still playing. However, the general managers of all these 32 teams know what poison this guy is to bring in to their locker room.
Exactly, and that's why he's not brought in.
There's at least 64 quarterbacks in the NFL. Your starter, your backup. To say he's 65, you'd be foolish. He's certainly within the mix of at least being a good backup. However, you don't bring an anti-American, an anti-cop, a racist into your
I don't even think it's that, because once again, like that, I don't think that as many people that are going to be going to those games and watching those games are going to have that same view. I think that it's one of those deals where I think the media attention is what's turning these teams away. And I think it's completely crazy that he's suing the NFL because he made himself a distraction. Let's face it. I mean, he chose to do this. He knew what the consequences could be. And, now for him to say, I'm suing the NFL because, the owners colluded against me. No, the owners didn't want a distraction. That's why he's not signed. That part I completely disagree with him on because, you did it to yourself, man. You got what you paid for.
Right, and I agree with you. And this is Nike's biggest mistake was grabbing him because Kaepernick was slowly fading off out of a lot of people's minds. And,
right.
Okay, let's get on with old football. Let's get on with football again. And Nike just resurrected this bum from the ashes. And like I said, that is the face of Nike's franchise now.
But at the same time,
a ton of people from the 50s on, and big sport people. And today, this was our conversation. Every person I talked to said, if you're wearing a Nike shirt in here tomorrow, we'll rip it right off your back. Yep. Or if you wear Nike shoes in here tomorrow, you're in for some bad doing.
Yeah,
so
which is too bad because at the end of the day, you should be able to have your own opinion. But
you should have. If Nike had any class, their face of their franchise would be a role model young people could look up to.
Yeah, caller or Nick.
And,
one thing,
and this is just my opinion.
And I don't know if it's a generational thing. I can put up with let a lot of things slide off my back, but you just don't disrespect the flag. It just unanimous.
I agree with you. I don't think
don't do it. And there's other ways to protest. Every Tuesday, every player in the NFL has
they
it
have
off.
the day off.
Do what you want Tuesday.
Right.
And the caller
Donate
made
your money.
another good point.
Which Kaepernick has
He
done.
made a great point. And maybe he should be sitting in this chair tonight. Is people perhaps were starting to let the Kaepernick fade. It was fading out of sight. What happened yesterday was this incident scabbed over, and Nike just went and yanked the scab off the wound yesterday.
I do want to ask you something, though. And this goes for Bobby. You can answer this. Richard, Nighthawk, how many times did you talk about or really think about Nike from last week until before yesterday?
Zero.
How many times have you thought about or talked about Nike in the last 2 days?
Oh, a lot. Thinking about it a lot. On the negative.
For me, zero.
But
non-issue.
But for Nike, they are in the discussion. They are in the conversation. They are the most talked about thing in all of sports right now. And for me, I heard somewhere that they've created billions of dollars.
But you know what? From 1939 to 1945, Hitler was the most talked about thing on a day-to-day basis. Didn't make Hitler right.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is Nike's gained so much exposure from this.
Bad exposure.
I don't think I think it's pretty much equal because as many people like you who are upset and calling the Nike corporate offices, I think there's an equal amount of people who are pumped up about this and going to buy Nike stuff.
No, it's all about the money. Guys like that caller, myself.
Why would they be pumped up? This is the part I don't understand. What would pump them up?
I don't understand either. Personally, I don't agree with it, but I understand it from a financial standpoint because there's people that do agree with that message and they love Colin Kaepernick. They're going to get as much Colin Kaepernick as they possibly can. And for Nike to bring him back into the spotlight and B, put themselves in the spotlight makes great financial sense because Colin Kaepernick is a figure that people love to talk about. I think that my generation is simply... I'm in the minority here. I can't stand this more than anybody else. But my generation loves Colin Kaepernick. They are completely set aback by him. They love talking about him. They love the issue. For what reason, I have no clue. Yeah. And I think that's probably what Nike's thinking too. But they love him. Nike's going to make money off of this.
But let me say this about 20-year-olds. They're ideologues. They're mainly liberals. Wait till they buy a house and start paying taxes. It's funny when you're 20 versus 30 when you own a house and start paying real taxes. Then your politics get a lot more conservative.
But right now, liberals aren't buying houses. Like you said, the majority of people my age are liberals. They're going to agree with this message. They're going to love Kaepernick. They're going to buy Nike stuff. That's the end of the story. A year from now, we won't be talking about this. When the liberals go to buy their houses, this won't matter. But right now it does.
What's that?
What is the message? This is the part I don't understand. What is the message?
I don't understand it either. I really don't. I just think that Nike
looks good on TV.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think that they just wanted to get this conversation going again. Honestly, I think that, like you said, they wanted to rip this scab off because they know they could make some money.
Now,
off
Nick,
of it.
I own stock, okay? I'm in the stock market. I don't own any Nike, but I can guarantee you one thing. If I did own Nike, I would have pulled the stock right out yesterday. And again, for me, from a business standpoint, it's always about the money. Who in Seattle is thinking, hey, boy, it's September, right start football season. What a great time to lose millions and millions and tens of millions of dollars. I mean, who would sit there and say, yeah, I agree, let's lose a lot of money?
I don't think they're going to lose a lot of money off of it because, like I've said a bunch of times, I think that this is pretty much, I think they might lose a little bit, but they're pretty much going to come out even here because, like I said, just as many people that are really against this are going to be really for it as well. I think, maybe even more people might be for it. From what I've seen on social media, I would say it's about 60-40 people are for this.
Okay, let me say something about memories. I think it was
I disagree.
1970, Duke, correct me, Jane Fonda went up to Hanoi, hence her nickname Hanoi Jane, jumped on a North Vietnamese tank, kind of dissed America, okay, and this is how many years later? Almost 50 years later. I have still yet to ever pay to see a Jane Fonda movie. I told myself at the tender age of 12.
You're probably not missing too many these days.
Well, she looks good. She's about 82 years old. But I said, if that's the way you feel about America, we're a capitalist country, I'm not going to shell out my money to you. And I have yet to pay any money ever to see a Hanoi Jane movie.
Just my thought is on this, and I'll get off the subject, is, football is slowly been on the downslide anyways. I would have thought Nike would have maybe done something that could have really caught the attention of the young and old, the in-between people. They could have shared something or someone that we all would have liked and try to capture, right from a 10-year-old to a 90-year-old. Because what you got right now is just what's going on now is the great divide. You're dividing people again. It's almost like, this is a ploy is dividing the people. And, I mean, that's just what we're doing right now. And at work all day, that was the talk. And, this is not a healthy thing Nike did. Right or wrong, everybody's entitled to opinion. And but I just don't think it was a real healthy thing that Nike did with this guy.
The greatest sports businessman of all time was the great one, Michael Jordan, when he was being criticized for not taking any social stances, and he came up with his epic, iconic line, Republicans buy sneakers too. Michael Jordan knew that, as you said, the great divide, 50% liberals, 50% conservatives. We all wear shoes. Why say anything bad where the conservatives are going to get ticked off?
And Tiger's another top of the line black athlete who's pretty much stayed out of
Keep your mouth shut when it comes to politics.
I would like to show that, I would like to read off some stuff here from social media that shows that people are, in fact, supporting this. Serena Williams says, especially proud to be a part of the Nike family today. Serena Williams, greatest female tennis player, of this generation.
She belongs to Nike.
Yeah.
She's part of Nike.
Okay.
What else is she going to say?
How many fans does she have? How many people are going to follow exactly what she says?
I can go on there and find great words about Adolf Hitler, too. I mean, you dig all you want.
Yeah, okay, but you're not going to find great words from Adolf Hitler from Serena Williams, Chris Long, Chris Paul.
These are all athletes. These are all...
Yeah, but these guys have massive followings that are going to follow and agree with what they say.
Go ahead, caller. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, okay, we've done enough of this. How about that Red Sox game today?
They were down 7-1. Game lost. They win 9-8.
I flipped over to my new Sirius XM. They're down 7-1. Yeah, came back and tied it. Only to have my man Brandon Workman, give up a homer, and then Brandon Phillips. Welcome, Brandon. What a 432-foot homer with 2 out in the top of the 9th inning, and Mr. Kimbrell, another slightly shaky ninth inning, but another unreal win for the Red Sox.
Well, what a great win! We're heading towards the end of the season, and
Unreal.
Another good win like that hopefully will pick us up, put us on another great roll.
Just got
that
Chris Sale
Phillips,
back.
what a nice addition to the club, and he's got plenty of experience. So I think he'll be helpful down the stretch. Erod looked fabulous there. What was it, last weekend?
Yeah.
So he's more than welcome back to the pitching staff. We'll get Sale back soon. So I think, right towards playoff time, we'll have all our parts in places with Sale pitching first, probably, then Erod. And David Price has had a very nice year. So, I think we'll be good down the stretch. And a game like today can really lift you, and I think it's all positive, and I'm looking forward to the playoffs, and hopefully we stay this way, because it would look now, I believe, like a Yankee and Oakland A matchup for the wild card.
Yep.
Yeah, and
That'll be a fun game too.
So that'll be pretty exciting.
Let me
and
say
the
this:
Astros, they're playing real good again. They're kind of scaring me.
About Chris Sale. Again, it's coming back to the Nighthawks invention from a half dozen years ago. Chris Sale will probably pitch on Monday. And guess what he's doing? He's going to be the opener for the Red Sox.
I saw this and I immediately thought of you.
He's going to pitch 1, possibly 2 innings. That is what you do. Chris Sale is still the best pitcher, or one of the top 3 pitchers in the American League. So what you do, you get him to the ballpark, get him loosened up, have him pitch his 1 inning, 2 innings, get out of here, take a shower, go home, hope you feel good tomorrow. There's no need to keep him around till the 8th inning. So, again, they're learning how to reinvent the game of baseball.
Yeah.
Get
I
him
think
in.
they just want to loosen him up for the end of the month,
that's
kind
what
of
they
stretch
should
him
wanna
out,
do.
Right.
if you will.
Right, because to me, if he pitches Monday, the real question isn't how he feels after he pitches his 2 innings. How does he feel on Tuesday?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it's going to be one of those deals where, Sale, they just got to rest him right now. They give him a couple innings, throw him in, just make sure he's healthy for the playoffs, because right now that's all that matters. And I think Alex Cora is fully taken that stance on that. There's not really much to play for anymore in the regular season. You've pretty much locked up the AL East. I think you probably have locked up the AL East.
Pretty much, yeah.
I think that obviously Houston's not going to catch you. You're pretty much locked up to be the top seed in the American League playoffs. So why go full on for the wins record now when you could get ready for a World Series?
And that's Cora's hardest part of managing this year is the next 4 weeks.
Right.
Trying to keep his team engaged. Sports is all about competition. The Red Sox have been so great this year that they're so far ahead. Where these games they lose, big deal. But you still want to keep. At the same time, but you want to keep that winning.
Yeah, the last thing they want to do is kind of back into the playoffs. I think, especially considering you look back last year when they went to go play Houston. In the playoffs, they also played Houston on the last weekend of the season. Houston kind of knocked them around a little bit in that series. Then Houston went out and pretty much manhandled them in the playoff series. So they've got to come out and they've got to.
We've got such good bench strength that we can afford to sit regular players and
look
put
at Brandon
bench
Phillips
players
today.
in, and you really don't hurt yourself that much. So, kind of piggybacking on what you said, Cora, is pulling all the right strings and really getting all those players rested. So, it should be good.
That's the thing. I always say.
I'll let you guys go. You guys, great show. Have a very good evening. And even though, Nick, we don't see eye to eye on everything, you're a real good kid.
Yeah.
Hey,
thanks,
Bobby.
caller.
Nice comments, Bobby. Thanks a lot.
Now,
Good
Nick,
night, guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I just want to say something. I came in here to relax with my friends, okay?
I've really made you mad today,
After a
haven't I?
busy day, I said, I've got my buddy of nearly 40 years, the Duke, my new bestest buddy, the Red Man, the Gingerbread Man, Nick Mumley. So I'm just going to chill out with these guys. Like I said, I walk in, you put me in a new seat. Now you're talking completely opposite.
I do want to make 2 points here before you continue. This table was like this from what was it, St. Albans today with Richard beforehand. So we walked in. There was 15 minutes until showtime. So I was like, hey, this table's here. Let's try something different and see how this works.
How many guests did you have today?
No, it's nice to have Alan Robtoy, the now
you did?
just retired former longtime St. Albans City PW director. Had Alan Robtoy, Bill Nyan from the town,
Okay.
and Mayor Tim Smith.
Okay, so is that why this is a different table, right?
So there were
Yeah,
four.
it's- yeah.
There were four. There were four of us.
Because that's kind of like the host spot right there. And then the
so
panel
all those
sits right
mean
here.
thoughts I had about Zach, I probably should apologize.
Yes,
to
you
him
should apologize
because
to Zach.
This was for a purpose.
Right.
Okay, Zach, you can look at me. Zach, I'm sorry for all the mean, terse thoughts
And
I had
then
of you.
The other thing I wanted to put out there was that I personally, with Colin Kaepernick thing, I'm pretty much on your side. I just wanted to play the devil's advocate, but I do think that they
And that's
will.
fine. That's a good thing to do.
I do think that they will end up, profiting off of this long term because I think it does make sense financially, but I couldn't hate the message more.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said that because I was very close putting you out in the parking
Just so
lot.
you make it, just so you don't fire me or think that I've gone crazy.
Hey, Brandon Phillips, the hero of Red Sox win today. He has a distinction in Red Sox history. Can you perchance tell me what that is? Brandon Phillips.
Well, before
His
I
first
answer
game
that,
today.
this
Been
guy
around
in one game, he's got
This guy is a
Solid guy,
15-year
huh?
major leaguer, multi-all-star, mainly with the Reds.
Yeah.
But this guy was a solid player. Unfortunately, they just called him up, so
Right.
they can't
Surprised we
activate
didn't
him.
see him.
So
on the-
he cannot
No.
play
Can't
You have to be on the
postseason.
roster
Right.
by midnight,
August 31, right?
31. Yeah, but Brandon Phillips has always been one of my favorite ball players. Just really solid.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that they waited this long to get him up there.
Yeah,
I thought
a little
that he would
surprised,
kind
too.
of be one of those guys that maybe could platoon with Brock Holt and Eduardo Nunez and Rafael Devers and see what they have with him. So clearly, they have a pretty good player. in
I'd
him still.
forgotten about him, but it
But,
does
you know,
seem maybe surprising they didn't get him up for August. The distinction is there are a couple numbers he wanted. They were already taken. He wore number 0 today. First time in Red Sox history a
okay.
player had worn number 0.
Wow. Okay.
I heard him post-game radio interview. He sounds like a great guy.
Yeah,
No.
that's
But
awesome.
no, I
Red
agree.
Sox-
That is a little surprising.
And he's the kind of guy that the Red Sox need to utilize, with these September call-ups and now the 40-man roster being
Yeah.
up. They need to utilize him and, get those guys some rest, because at the same time, you look at, these guys that they're going to be using the playoffs with Nunez and Holt and Devers. You want to get those guys rested at their top level, similar to Chris Sale, because those are going to be your weak spots in the playoffs. So you guys, you want them. You want those guys playing the best that they can come to October. And I think Brandon Phillips is a guy that can really help the Red Sox.
But I
out
am
there.
a little surprised that they didn't do that before September 1.
It's always nice to have a proven veteran.
Yeah.
So, Nick, one more item, and I'm not going to apologize anything to you, but how have the anthem protests affected your support of the NFL? Now, this is 1 year later, and 4% will watch more. 39%, no change. Now, do the math on here. 28%, which I'm in the category, I will watch less. 29%, I'm boycotting them. You add up 28 and 29, my friends, that's 57% of your football community right there. Again,
I'll give you that. Viewership is down, and I think Kaepernick has a huge role in that.
Yeah.
And that's the NFL's problem. It's not Nike's Nike's not
Right.
Nike's not losing money. Well, if it goes on for 10 years, then Nike might lose some money from it. But I think that what they've got with every other sport's going to be going to even it out. But at the end of the day, I don't think Nike's too concerned about NFL ratings because it doesn't
Right. No, they don't care
generally
about it.
affect them.
Now, I will say this. I'm not so much upset at the players because most of them are just unintelligible, uneducated people, okay? They don't really know what they're protesting. What I'm upset is
I wouldn't say that,
management.
but-
Oh, I would.
I think that there are some
I would sit
incredibly
down right
dumb
now
players in
at
the
my
NFL.
old age and take a SAT test against 95% of them.
I
and
wouldn't put that.
and
number
I would
that
beat
high.
them.
I think that I think that there's a lot of, you got to remember, there's some Harvard guys in the NFL. There's some Princeton guys in the NFL.
Right, they're part of that.
Hey, there are a couple of Dookies in the NFL.
I think that there's a lot of guys who really are smart.
Do you remember
smart
last
people.
year
I
when
think
they
that
asked them what you're protesting about, and you just couldn't even understand what they're protesting.
I think that I'm not saying that every player in the NFL is a genius. I am saying that I think that, I would say that the amount of people that have that, MVU level math skills are going to be like, 25, 30%, not 95.
Right.
That's
Now,
just what I'm saying.
So, as I was saying, I'm not so much upset with them. It's their bosses. The owners and the commissioner, Roger Goodell, who I used to have the utmost respect for, which I absolutely do not anymore.
I don't think many people do.
They are the employers, Nick. Now, if I'm employing you and there's something I don't like what you're doing or not doing, whether I'm right or wrong, does not make the difference because I'm signing your paycheck. You say, yes, Mr. Nighthawk, and you do what I tell you to do. That is what an employer to an employee relationship is all about. And quite frankly, if you didn't agree with Mr. Nighthawk, then you resign.
Yeah, but it's one of those deals where, like, what's like, if you fire the guy, like, that's just gonna bring your company down. I think that it differs from a regular business in that sense because, like, if I go into Hannaford's and I say this and that, and the management's like, we don't agree with this, you're fired. Hannaford just hires another me, and they're chugging right along. They don't lose any money. An NFL team, if Tom Brady goes out and says, hey, I don't like this, I disagree, and they say, Tom Brady, you're fired, the Patriots now go from a 12-4 team to a 4-12 team, and they lose tons of money in the process.
No, when somebody disagrees, you have the common courtesy to bring them in your office and have a conversation what the company's concept is, what their goals are, blah, blah, blah. So that's it for that. NFL still is not out of murky waters. Now, on the lighter note, NFL season starts in about, 23 hours from now.
Yep.
And actually, a very, 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 very good football game.
It will be.
And I will be watching that game.
We'll watch it.
DVR Atlanta and Philadelphia.
Atlanta at Philly.
And I think
Do we know who's starting quarterback for
Nick
Philly?
Foles will be starting.
Nick Foles.
Yeah, this has been a joke.
What's the story with the Eagles guy? They're coming off a Super Bowl. Has this guy gotten like Bill Belichick-y all of a sudden? Hasn't he been very testy? He sounds like he's been a jerk, hasn't he?
Did I not say that last week? He's Bill Belichick light.
Did you say
He's
that?
acting like a jerk. I can
Why
take it from,
why is he doing that?
because he looks at the greatest coach of all time and he wants to be like Belichick.
But he was very different. I mean, isn't this very uncharacteristic for Peterson or
And
not?
Peterson's the next NFL quarterback for many years, backup quarterback.
Yeah.
He should know better. I mean, these were, and I'm not much of a journalist fan, but these questions the Eagle reporters were asking, basic questions every day.
Sure.
We just want to know where Carson Wentz is.
Sure.
Now, as I said, we're 23 hours away from kickoff. Carson Wentz has yet to receive a hit. Okay,
Yeah, right.
He cannot do non-contact. So forget tomorrow night. I can bet my life he won't be playing next week either. He's going to have to take some shots before he's ready to play.
Yeah,
but Philadelphia is a 1-point favorite in that game.
I think Philly's going to lose that game,
I think
honestly.
the Falcons will win that ball game.
What we've seen out of Nick Foles, I think, he had that really good year, probably, 4 years ago now?
He actually made the All-Stars or All-Pro that year.
And then he went and he stunk up the joint in I think it was still St. Louis at that point. And then nobody wanted him. He came back to Philly, was a backup, and, came out and had the good year. I think that, he's a guy who's just going to have these 2 fluke years. From what I've seen of him in the preseason, this guy is trash.
Yeah.
I don't think Philly's got a chance to win this game.
I still don't believe what happened in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I've got Philadelphia 2.5-point favorites in the line in front of me here.
I honestly think that Nick Foles didn't win that Super Bowl for Philly. I think the Patriots defense lost it for the Patriots.
Still, he made some.
What happened during that Super Bowl? The Eagles, I say, next to the Dallas Cowboys, have the best offensive line in football. The Patriots couldn't get it couldn't get to Foles. They didn't play well, but again, they were playing a great offensive line. Now, on the other hand, New England, they gave up 1 sack the whole game. It took
Never punted, 505 passing yards for
Right.
TB12.
It took the Eagles, Nick, 57 and a half minutes before the first sack. Now, if you remember that sack,
was a
they
big
hit
one.
Brady, and Brady fumbled the ball, and that was after they got the ball, like at the 25-yard line with 2.5 minutes to go.
They were
They
on
said,
25.
boy, what a, is Brady writing a Hollywood script here?
Right.
I mean, the only issue Brady's got is 2.5 minutes. You might have too much time. And I said, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy this, see the greatest player.
Speaking of Brady, the Tom versus time. Nick, have you watched this stuff?
I've
Huck,
watched
you
a little
obviously
bit of
haven't.
it.
I've watched none of it. But it sure sounds like Brady just, and again, I watched none of it, but I read about it. It sure sounds like Brady is getting just more ready by the day for the rest of his life and stuff. I'm just sure not hearing any hey, I've got another 5 years in me.
Okay.
Just seems like that talk is long gone.
I read a headline today, didn't click on it, that Brady said the last 2 years playing football have been the worst 2 seasons of his
is that
career.
right?
But my buddy Joe golfing yesterday told me on a fairway that he heard Brady said, he could be retiring like in a couple years. And of course, one of my favorite sayings is when an employee tells you they're retiring, say next April, in their mind, they're already retired.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the same production out of them.
Right.
I wonder, yeah. This is the vibes I'm getting from him. I just wonder if he's got more than 1 more year left here. I guess we'll see,
Yeah.
but I'm just getting a very different vibe than, hey, I'm in great shape. I'm going to play forever, basically. Just seems like whether that goes back to the rift or supposed rift with, Brady, Belichick, Kraft, and those guys. Hawk, there's a book out. This is a Dan Shaughnessy column. This guy, I know this writer. This guy's very good. I just read in the past few months Mark Leibovich. He's actually a Pats fan, I guess, growing up, a Boston guy. I think I remember reading him in the old Boston Phoenix decades ago.
Okay.
He's been a New York Times guy. But this is a book I gave Mr. Emerson Lynn. I hope you read it. But a great book just happened upon it on kind of the incestuous media situation in Washington. But he's a Times guy, but a very fair book. But he got amazing access. This is just, I'll read a little bit of this. And Shaughnessy loves this. Shaughnessy's just going crazy at Fort Foxborough.
What's the title of the book?
The title is Big Game, The NFL in Dangerous Times by Mark Leibovich. Just read a little bit of Shaughnessy's column. I love anything that shines light inside Fort Foxborough. Shaughnessy just goes crazy, You get credentialed. Who are you? Just your paranoia and stuff. And he just thinks too many writers are just way too soft and don't give the pats, although it's tough when you're dealing with Belichick. But again, just read a little bit of this. Unearthing truths from Gillette Stadium. It's almost impossible for local reporters. The Patriot PR industrial complex is a perfect model for keeping things in-house. Half the folks who cover the team are working for the team, and much of the other half are too fearful or beaten down to discover anything. Years covering the Patriots are like dog years. Reporters wear down and lose their will to live. How many times can a reporter hear Bill Belichick say, "It's a football decision," or "We're on to Cincinnati," before he or she stops asking for answers? This is followed, of course, by the chorus of angry Patriots fans wondering why anyone would dare ask Bill anything. Just a little more. Into this mix comes Leibovich, a homegrown Newton, Mass. Patriots fan, a responsible adult, and serious national reporter for the vaunted New York Times. The author somehow coaxed Tom Brady, Bob Kraft, Jerry Jones, and even Donald Trump into cooperating with his 4-year part-time project to plumb the inner workings of the Patriots in all things NFL. The result is a 349-page grenade guaranteed to rattle cages in Foxborough, Dallas, and at 345 Park Ave in Manhattan, NFL headquarters, obviously. A little more. The author tells us that it was Kraft who placed the Make America Great Again hat in Brady's locker. He describes Kraft as a whiny star expletive and reveals multiple emails from Brady, including one from last April when the quarterback said the Pats can do whatever they want regarding his future services. Anyway, sounds like a great book.
Did you say you bought this book?
No, I didn't buy it. I'm just reading about it.
Oh, okay.
Just reading about it I read a book by the same author.
Oh, okay,
A
okay.
political
Yeah,
book.
that
And
would
this
be a
guy-
book I would
And
be
this guy's very good.
very
Sounds like a
interested
great
in reading.
book.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great block.
And speaking of the Patriots, and I said it before, not blaming New England. They just happen to reside on the East Coast, thus putting them in the Eastern Division.
Yeah.
And I've always said part of their success is just playing in that horrid division for all these years. Now, just
And I hear, and the
You're
point,
right.
and
No,
that
you're
point
right.
I always make is when they play out of the division, good
No,
teams.
right. They're a
They
great team.
usually tend to beat them. But I understand. your
But
point.
this year, just to show you what they're playing with, ESPN came out with their power rankings.
Yep.
And rightly so, they gave
Please tell me they don't have the Pats number one.
well, they gave it the Eagles. Patriots are 2.
Patriots are
okay.
2?
Now the other
I don't know
three,
about that.
the other 3 teams in the American East Conference with New England, the rankings are as follows. And let me get my numbers straight.
Boy, they
Okay.
all like bottom half.
And remember, 32 teams in the league.
Yeah.
Let me just put an X here. Okay,
Let me
I've got
guess, 16, 19, and 24.
it. No, 26. The highest ranked team, the Dolphins. One of the sports age-old axioms is that good teams are strong up the middle. If this holds true, Miami appears to be in serious trouble. Number 29,
Really?
the Jets. They couldn't ask for much more than Sam Darnold delivered in August, but Darnold must eventually ask for much more help around him. 29th rookie quarterback. The last team, the Bills. How many teams again in the NFL?
30, just said 32.
Okay, Buffalo ranked 32. Okay, so they got 26, 29, 32. Buffalo. Parking Josh Allen was the right move. With so many holes, Buffalo could have seriously compromised top picks development. Good luck, Nat P. Of course, you know who the starting quarterback is, Duke, right? For Buffalo this week?
Is it not my man Tyrod? Is he gone out?
He's in Buffalo.
He's in
or
Cleveland.
Cleveland now.
Sorry.
No. Nathan Peterman.
No, Mr. Peterman.
Petermania.
Nate Peterman. So,
threw like
so the
5
Patriots have
interceptions in
to
the first
play
half in
against
the game
Nate
last year.
Peterman,
Sam
Darnold, who's barely 21 years
I
of
think
age.
he'll be good.
Oh, I think so
Isn't
too.
he going to be the youngest
Right.
starting quarterback ever in a game?
Ever.
Sam Darnold.
Yep.
He's good. He looks like he's going to
Hey,
be.
he
a
might
very
as
good
well.
quarterback.
Yeah, maybe he might as well
So
start
they
him
give one line, and I'll do the top 10, but Patriots are second. The one-liner here is significant questions at left tackle, wide receiver, and defense for the AFC Kings.
Yeah, plenty of questions.
But in the last line, makes all the sense in the world, but can't take them lightly as long as TB12 is slinging.
Yeah.
So you got Eagles, Patriots, Falcons, Rams. And the Rams I haven't mentioned, and shame on me. I am just amazed. Maybe this is the new wave in the NFL. They have in my opinion, they have the best defensive player in all of football in Aaron Donald, who just signed a mega deal. Talk about Khalil Mack all you want,
Mack.
or J.J. Watt. Aaron Donald's
I don't
a
think
tackle.
J.J. Watt's really in that conversation anymore.
Right.
but-
Aaron Donald is God when it comes to playing D-line. And my opinion, aside from quarterback, they get all the glory. The best offensive player in football is Todd Gurley. This guy can do it all. But during the NFL,
Sounds like a good team.
during the NFL preseason, their young coach, all of 32?
Yep,
Sean McVay. And I probably agree with him. Jared Goff and Todd Gurley did not go on the field for one snap.
Is that
should
right?
have.
And you're seeing
Injuries not an issue.
No.
Not an
injuries,
issue?
all the issues. Now you're seeing
No,
players.
but I mean they.
Well,
they,
yeah,
but they,
yeah.
they
no,
they-
they're
they're
healthy.
fully healthy.
They're
Healthy
healthy.
as a bull.
Is that right? Not one.
Not
snap?
one snap.
Really?
And you're seeing players getting less reps during preseason.
Interesting.
So I know Jerry Jones, among other owners, and I agree, they would like to go a 2-game preseason schedule, but take those 2 games and make it
And
an
add them to the-
18-game schedule.
It seems like I heard some more talk about that just the other day. Somebody
Yeah.
saying in a couple of years that's definitely going to be
Yeah.
the way it
And
is.
all
I think
you
it
do
will, too.
instead
Bag the
of
2 preseason. I'm not sure
Yeah, I
the
think
2 preseason. But,
Right.
But
Here's
the
what
owners,
you do.
they're not going to concede any money.
here's
Yeah,
what you
that's
do with an 18-game schedule. You give them 2 bye weeks.
2 bye, yeah, that
6
would-
games bye, 6 games bye.
fine. I hope they
And that
do
would-
that.
yeah,
but
that'd be
boy,
good.
do you again? Are you starting the season earlier in August? Or are you going to go later
Oh.
in February? Or
Yeah, I would say start them in August.
I would rather go later.
Oh, it's so damn cold in the wintertime.
Yeah, but it's so damn hot in the summertime.
I mean, that's just the issue. How do you deal with a
Well,
longer
I will tell you,
season?
there sometimes
You go
I'll
earlier,
see
you're gonna be
games late in the
guys,
season,
playing guys in July or
like
June.
New England and Pittsburgh. It's December. It's a 20-mile-an-hour wind in Foxborough, and here's a game I'm really hyped up to see.
Yeah.
And I say, geez, it's really too bad I don't see Tom and Big Ben playing nice conditions.
I don't think that. I think that if you move if you move the season back 2 weeks, I think you look at it being there's going to be on the field drills in June. And you don't want that because,
and of course, college football will go crazy. They now have at least one weekend of their own.
Yeah, college football has their.
They'll be thrilled if the pros grab that weekend.
I just think that training camp preseason games are prehistoric now. I just think these guys, if a player shows up to camp, Tom Brady can show up 12 pounds overweight, and they'll say, Tom, come on, lose your gut. But a marginal player comes in out of shape.
Yeah.
They say, Nick Mully, you're out of shape. Boy, you don't take football seriously. You're gone.
Right.
It's a 12-month job for these players. I really don't think they need many reps to get themselves ready to play.
Yeah, I think that it's for. I think that it is kind of important because you've got these guys like look at the Patriots right now. Who's going to be their number 3, number 4 wide receiver? We don't really know that. These weeks before the season are for them to kind of try to figure that out. Now, granted, nobody's really stepped up for them, and we still don't know who it is. But
again, on the other side,
they were
Isaiah
given
Wynn.
that opportunity.
Yet again, their top draft pick. Hey, see you. Nice knowing you, Isaiah. Maybe we'll catch you next year.
That's about the only critical thing I'll say about Bill Belichick is he does not draft well.
His drafting has been certainly mixed. Yeah, it hasn't been great.
I mean, it's been
Not
hit
great.
or miss. He's drafted Gronkowski.
Yeah, it's
he's
hit and miss.
drafted
I'd say hit and
Brady.
miss.
I mean,
but he certainly is no that's genius. That's for sure.
I
No,
think
come on.
That's not his fault. The guy
can't
gets
give
an
New England
ACL.
credit for drafting Tom Brady. I mean, that was just a skinny.
sure you can. They
Well,
drafted Tom Brady.
They drafted
He was a
him.
200th overall. They picked up a backup quarterback. I mean, nobody knew if this guy was going to be there.
But I mean, they did it. Nobody else did it. I certainly give him a ton of credit.
You get credit for it. I mean, that's just what happens if you go to the store and buy a lottery ticket, you win $500. Am I going to give you credit for winning $500?
Did they really believe when they
$500?
drafted Tom Brady in the 6th round that they had their starter of the future?
I don't think that's not what you're looking for.
But you're asking a good question. I'd love to know what they were really thinking then.
Yeah,
but all I know is they drafted him.
You can answer your own question if I asked you this question.
Yeah.
Who was the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots when Brady was...
Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah, Mr. Bledsoe.
Right. Bledsoe had a decent career, threw over 40,000 yards. Okay.
And for the record, won an early playoff game when Brady got hurt en route to their first Super Bowl.
So, but anyways, they haven't drafted well. Now, the New York Football Giants, the state of disarray that they're in. Okay. They were the second worst team in football last year with a stellar 3-13 record, and I question if they were even that good last year.
Really?
They cut down to their 53-man roster this weekend. Do you know what they've done since then, Nick? They have picked up 6 guys on waivers on that 24-hour period, and since then they've picked up 2 free agents because after 24 hours, if they're not picked up on waivers, they become free agents. That's 8 new bodies they've picked up since this weekend. That's nearly 20% of the roster with rejects from other teams.
Also, they cut Davis
Webb,
and then he went to the Jets, and they kept Kyle Lauletta, who seemed pretty shaky against
my man
the Patriots.
Kyle. Next, maybe Tom Brady.
I don't know about
that. He hasn't looked good.
Watching the Patriots-Giants preseason game, he looked more like the next Kevin O'Connell than
he underthrew everybody.
Yeah,
However, they see him every day in practice. And part of the reason was with the new regime in, they didn't draft Davis Webb. Okay, Davis Webb has an unbelievable arm, but the problem with guys like Davis Webb is they fall in love with their arm and they think they can force a pass into anything. I told you on last week's show, Lauletta probably has an average arm, but he's a extremely cerebral quarterback, and he's able to the defense.
Yeah, I'm
And
not-
They have a lot of
Give the
faith
guy some time.
in him. So
Yeah.
I was, and
We'll
I
see,
will
but-
grant you, I was a little shocked and surprised
All right.
that Webb
Yeah.
got cut.
Then why wouldn't they make him, a third quarterback or a practice squad guy when they could have kept Davis Webb, who's an able body to go in if Eli Manning gets hurt, which is pretty possible. I mean, he's 38 years old, I think. I mean, it's very likely. We saw a lot of guys go down. I mean, we've seen Andrew Luck go down. We've seen Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers. All these quarterbacks are getting hurt. That's why I think the Patriots
You and
are in a
I
bad
certainly
position as
disagree
well.
on a lot of things, but I think there's
You
one
gotta have a
thing
good
we can
backup
agree on
quarterback.
is there's not one backup quarterback in the NFL. If a starter goes down this Sunday, will lead them in not Super Bowl playoffs. There's a reason why these backup quarterbacks. There is not one quarterback backup that I can say, don't worry about it. The team won't.
I think I think if the Colts were a better team, I think Jacoby Brissett would be
He
the
didn't
guy
play
who would do
well
that.
last year for the Colts.
I think he played pretty good. Yeah.
Played great with the Patriots.
Colts.
I didn't play great, but he looked like he might
now
have.
the only
didn't have a
guy
good
I
team.
can tell you, and I was going to bring up Matt Castle, but he was playing for a Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
Played great, and I think that was the year they went 11-5 and did
missed
not
the
make the
playoffs.
playoffs.
Right, didn't make the playoffs.
Best team in the history of football not to make playoffs.
Is that right?
Now Matt Castle name reappeared. He's still playing
Oh,
football.
yeah, he's still kicking
He
around.
really-
He's now the backup quarterback. His job was safe with the Detroit Lions behind the second highest paid quarterback.
Of course, Matt Patricia, the new coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but my point being, again, is it's not a big issue. I think, speaking for Giant management, they see Loletta every single day. They feel he probably down the road, and I'm saying 2 years down the road,
Yeah.
has a bigger upside than Loletta. And I
It's
keep
just-
saying Tom Brady does not have top 10 strongest arm in football.
No.
Does not have it. But I will tell you this, he's got the smartest brain in football. And that's why you're seeing quarterbacks play till 40. If they can get protected and not take hits, there's no reason why a guy can't play until he's 40 years of age. Now, a running back, they're washed up before they even hit 30. But a quarterback is a cerebral position. Every one of these quarterbacks in the NFL, they can throw the ball. They can throw the ball. They have a resume in college that has shown that they can throw the ball. But it's a brain position. And, as I said last week's show, Tom Brady, in my humble opinion, is the Albert Einstein of the history of the NFL.
Now, I do want to ask you, though, before we move off from the NFL, what do you think about Le'Veon Bell right now? I don't know if you've heard much about that.
Did not show up today. In fact, Nick, thanks for rubbing it in. I took him on one of my drafts. I had the second pick overall.
He's a steal at second overall.
Todd Gurley was the first pick.
Yeah.
Gurley's been picked first every draft.
I would.
So I took
without this. I would take Le'Veon Bell.
I took Le'Veon Bell. I knew he had not been to camp.
Yeah.
But I said, well, he'll be there by Tuesday. Didn't show up yesterday. Did not show up to camp today. Now, if he's not there tomorrow, guaranteed he will not be playing Sunday.
Right.
And back to my point of 8 minutes ago about guys not needing reps. He'll be the
he's
proof
one of those guys,
he's going
right.
to be the proof in the pudding.
I don't know if he'll show up though.
I don't think so.
I don't think he will. And he's lost the locker room too. I mean, I don't know if you've read today. I mean, one veteran. This is off of ESPN. One veteran told ESPN he walked out of the locker room on Wednesday. He effed us. So I mean, three of his 5 offensive linemen have gone out and said, "Listen, we had this guy's back right through here." And, he kind of made us look like idiots by not showing up today. Mike Pouncey is his center, who's one of the best centers in football, says, he said yesterday, I guarantee you he'll be here on Wednesday. If I know Le'Veon, he'll be there Wednesday. He didn't show up today. So, that kind of makes them look bad. And another one who made a really good point said, this guy's throwing a temper tantrum because he's making 5 times the money we're making.
What's he? I mean,
He's only getting $10 million a year.
10.
And-
So 10. That's what he got in the franchise.
I think it's the last year of his contract, and he
Oh, I
wanted.
thought they franchised
we
him.
knew
He's
that
on the last
he
year of a
was
contract.
franchised. Yeah, we knew that he wouldn't be back in Pittsburgh next year. I think that's pretty much written on the wall at this point. But for him to kind of do this right now is just really
So
disappointing.
he's just bitter. He wants
gotta
just mega
wonder.
bucks
Well,
long-term
Odell
contract.
Beckham played the same game. He had a contract this season, but the Giants knew
Right.
as little success they may have this year, it's going to be even worse if you
they
have
don't
an
have him,
unhappy Odell Beckham. Now, he's extremely happy, and they're hoping this will grow him up and take a leadership role with the team. But
Now-
the veterans are right in Pittsburgh.
Right.
Their success depends on Le'Veon Bell. Depending on who you talk to in a bar, it's either Gurley or Bell is the number one back in football.
Yeah.
And for these guys, they have to have success. So when their contracts are up, they can say, this is my resume. Here's what I've done. So if you would have talked to me last night, Nick, I said, don't sweat it.
Right.
I bet my life
The
Bell
fact
will be
that he
in
didn't
camp
show up
tomorrow
today
morning at 9 o'clock.
is really concerning, and you got to wonder. I think the Steelers should consider, making a Khalil Mack like trade here and saying, okay, we'll cut our losses if we'll take a second round pick for this guy, because at this point his trade value is going to be pretty much nothing. You trade him to a team, if I'm the Steelers, I'm trading him to an absolute garbage team that has no chance of making the playoffs, just to say, you know what? You want to treat us like this? Here, have fun going 2-14.
Yeah, but I will tell you this. I would never trade for a running back because Le'Veon Bell will never be better than he has been the past 4 years.
Yep.
Okay, now the Giants, controversially, drafted a running back at the number 2 spot, even though he's heralded as the best running back coming out of college, probably since Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
I say since Adrian Peterson, but
Okay.
up for debate.
Right. Now, what I do with Barkley for the next 4 years, give him the ball. I'd run this guy into the ground, and when his contract is up, see ya. Running backs have a very, very short shelf life.
They do, yeah.
And to a team that's going to give up a lot, let's see, Oakland received 2 first-round picks from Chicago for
Khalil
Mack.
Mack's a completely different player because
Right.
he's going to be around for the next 4 or 5 years still to just completely dominate.
I think Bell, you can get a first-round pick, nothing more than that.
I don't even know about that because he's had 400 touches for the last 3-4
that's-
years. He's not going to be. It's only going to go downhill from here. I think a team giving up their first-round pick would be really, really stupid.
right.
I think that at best the Steelers can get 1 second-round pick. From a good team, maybe a third-round pick from a bad team. But if I'm the Steelers, I'm saying, hey, have fun playing in Arizona. Have fun playing for the New York Jets. Have fun playing for, I don't know.
Yeah, so you're getting to my
Seattle.
point is they've run him into the ground, and rightly so. You're going to be a running back. You're going to get paid a lot of money. Then we're going to use it.
And basically right now he's just being, he's just being terrible to them. So I think they should just be terrible to him in return and just send him off to a team that has no chance of winning a Super Bowl even with him on the roster. I think that it's kind of really embarrassing for football as a whole to see a player acting like this because he's acting like an idiot.
Yeah.
And he should. You make $10 million, dude. Chill out. You're going to get a contract next year anyway. Go play for this team. It doesn't, unless he blows his knee open and can never play football again, he'll make big money next year.
And lastly on that, a team would be a little scared bringing that type of character into the locker room right now. So before I get onto golf here, I heard today, and you guys probably would know, that Kevin Smith's Sports Connection is going out of business.
Really?
Wow, really? That's nothing I can tell you.
Can't say it doesn't surprise me, but
Are you talking about just St. Albans? Because Kevin's got
I know he's got one in the Burlington area.
So you're just talking
That's
St.
all I
Albans,
know,
or
and I
don't know?
figured you know everything about Franklin
I
County,
know
and
nothing.
Nick's young enough to know.
No,
So,
nothing.
I have I know a couple people that work there, but I haven't heard.
Talk about a place that's been a key
staple.
part of downtown. Staple's a great word for many years.
As an athlete,
But retail, the obvious comment is, boy, good luck if you're in retail these days.
As
I
an
hate to think of the
athlete-
people who go in there, look at their stuff, and then go home and order it online.
That happens all the time. Is what you do is you write down the code and all that, and go home and.
Well, I played hockey and baseball in high school. I'd go in there for stuff. I'd look at the price tag and say, "Damn, this is $30, $40 more expensive than it is to to pay online to get it to me and to ship it. So it just it wasn't worth it for me.
Duke's point is when you have overhead. I mean, 10 years from now, Main Street America, you'll have little boutiques, but places like sports, it's all going to be huge warehouses where you and I are going to show up in our T-shirts and our gym shorts at night, placing orders. Richard Carperthwaite, he wants hockey skate, and we're going to fill the order, and he's going to have it in 2 days.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where
Amazon will be dealing with everything.
Amazon yesterday, as a matter of fact, became the second
$2 trillion
company, only outdone by
Google, right?
Google last month.
Yeah.
When I could talk about those guys for an hour.
I just think that and I would love to support local businesses like that. But at the end of the day, when I'm 18 years old playing hockey and these hockey sticks are already $200 and these composite sticks have the opportunity and chance to break at any minute. I mean, I saw in high school one of my friends spent $250 at Kevin's for a new stick. Went out for our first practice with it. Before I even had all my gear on and was on the ice, he had snapped the stick in half. Yeah. So at that, it's worth it if you can say you save every penny that you can, and if I can get a $250 stick for $180 online, I'm going to do that instead of buying it at Kevin's because I do want to support local business, but at the same time I can't. You can't afford it.
That's what's spreading across America, and one business throughout this country over the last 20 years is bookstores. Yep. Bookstores used to be a staple in Main Street America, but now you order online and you save 25, 33% buying books online. So anyways, I'm going to do that. Let's see. Ryder Cup. Duke was going to be away.
What about Bryson DeChambeau?
Duke was going to be away that weekend, but he made some changes.
Yeah.
So he's going to be home. Now, let me see here.
Did you catch any of the golf out of Norden, Mass? What about Bryson DeChambeau? You were wondering about this guy. I hope you know this guy now.
Seems like a really nice
guy. Like I said, I think he played a Masters, as I said, maybe last week. Maybe he's an amateur, but one of his first tourneys was in Hilton Head a couple of years ago. But 2 in a row. Nobody had done that since Vijay Singh in the FedEx Championships. Mm-hmm. First guy since Vijay in 2008 to win the first 2, I guess.
So the Ryder Cup's the 28th through the 30th. I say this every year doing the show. Even if you're not a golf fan, this is fun because this is overly competitive. It really is, and the fans get very rowdy. It's something like you've never seen
I just
before.
flashed back to Ian Poulter when Europe came from behind a few Ryder Cups ago in maybe Medina in Ohio. I mean, how intense. I mean, the intensity is unbelievable.
Yeah. So this is outside Le Golf National Country Club.
So outside Paris somewhere.
And the team captain picked his alternates over the weekend. Bryson DeChambeau, no surprise. Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods made the team, and they have a to be determined.
One spot left. The thing here, Tony Finau, who's been playing some great golf.
So the U.S. team also comprises of, just epic names: Ricky Fowler, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Patrick Reed, who I like because he's got a belly on him.
Masters.
Webb Simpson, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, Bubba Watson.
Sounds like pretty good.
In Europe, some of these names you won't know, but they all can golf because a lot of them don't come to North America to play. Yeah. Paul Casey, Tommy Fleetwood.
I love Paul Casey. Yeah,
Fleetwood's good. Sergio Garcia,
good.
Terrell Hinton, Rory McIlroy.
Is Sergio? Was he picked?
He was a
captain's pick.
Yes, he was. There was Terrell Hinton, Rory McIlroy, Francesco Molinaro,
who just won the PGA.
Alex Noren, Ian Poulter, Thorborn Olsen. I'm going to presume he's from Sweden. John Rahm, who's a really good golfer. Justin Rose and Henrik Stenson.
Those are 2 very good teams.
So this is good. And we've got about 15 minutes. The Ryder Cup. Okay, that's just a great tournament. Yeah. I'm going to myself when I'm doing notes. Who is Mr. Ryder? I had no clue.
Did you look that up? I couldn't tell you.
I did. He's got a St. Albans connection as well.
Really?
He does. Samuel Ryder, born 24th March 1858, died 2nd of January 1936. He was an English businessman, entrepreneur, golf enthusiast, and golf promoter. He originated the idea of selling garden seeds in penny packets and built a very successful business on that concept. At the age of 50, he became an enthusiastic golfer, and then from 1923 to 25, he, together with his brother James, started sponsoring a number of golf tournaments and matches mostly at his home of Verdelam near St. Albans.
Near St. Albans, England.
I said St. Albans connection.
That's good, Hawk. Very good.
From late 25, he started employing Abe Mitchell as his private coach. In early 26, the idea for the match between British and American professional golfers were proposed. Ryder became involved and sponsored the event. It was his intention that the match would be the first Ryder Cup, but it was later decided that the match would not be an official contest. The official event didn't place until the following year, 27, for which Ryder donated a gold trophy.
Oh, good job, Hawk.
Yeah,
That's
so,
interesting.
Cool.
Yeah,
fact
Ryder
of the
Cup
day.
not. Again, 2 legs left of the FedEx Championship. They're playing out. Geez, where are they this week? And of course, they always end in East Lake. Atlanta's the last one, but Bryson DeChambeau, one hot guy.
Boy, I'm trying to remember if I heard this. This was
Where are they
DeChambeau.
playing?
He started the
Pittsburgh?
season maybe ranked 9th,
He missed a cut at the PGA
and now he's ranked 7th, something like that.
Yeah, no, he's very good.
And what, he played the 3rd round with Tiger. And he just was, so
Forget where they're playing this week. I'm spacing out anyway. Hawk, guess what I was doing? Of course, you're the Nighthawk, but I was wide awake. I was wide awake last night at as late as about 2:30. Certainly wide awake at 2 a.m. Can you wondering why, perchance?
Oh,
We're talking
Okay.
some great tennis.
okay, Nick.
Great tennis.
Tennis 40 years ago was up here. Okay, it didn't just decline, it fell off the cliff.
But don't tell that to the folks.
I asked Duke last week, hey Duke, who was the last American to win a major? He was right. It was Andy
Mr.
Roddick,
Roddick.
2003, 15 years. There's no great American men. Okay, now you've got the second biggest tennis tournament of the year, second only to Wimbledon. Okay, you've got one of the greatest tennis players in the history of the game. My brain is
talking. I guess you're
Last
probably
night.
not going to say Serena. You're talking.
Last night.
Rafa, my man Rafa.
Rafa Nadal.
Yep.
Okay, do you know what time this match got done last night?
Yes, because I was watching.
Go ahead.
Late.
2:15 in the morning. That's
about right.
Okay.
I
Now,
would've
if you
fallen
want to
asleep.
promote your sport, that was the match of the day. You put them at prime time, like at 7
match.
o'clock.
Well, what they do.
It was a 4-hour, 49-minute match. Okay, if you would have played them at 7 o'clock, young people could watch it. 2:15 in the morning.
Did you watch it?
No, I'm not a tennis enthusiast like
watched it.
him.
But again, it's the night matches, and the night matches at the U.S. Open are famous. They're the most famous night matches anywhere, I think. And if you think tennis is faded, you're not going to get that impression watching the U.S. Open and catching the scene in New
Right.
York. It's a very active scene.
One-
But anyway, but just the night matches, as is the case. I mean, I'm in Charleston watching night matches. They give you 2 matches, and the women play first. It's going to be a shorter match in all likelihood, and the men's matches after. And it was, as you said, an almost 5-hour match. So,
Let me just.
but what do you do, Hawk? You got to have night
Seven-
matches.
You got to know when these are occurring, what's the premier match of the night.
But again, I'm not sure a lot of people care. I mean, sure, not many people are watching on TV, but the folks in the stand, we're talking New York.
Dude,
they're used
who
to
cares
this.
about the 7,000 people watching?
About maybe 25,000 people
or
in the stands.
it's the masses who have television sets that have to get up literally 3 hours later to go to work. Okay,
It's
now I
kind
can
of a New
guarantee
York
you,
thing. I'm not sure New York cares about the masses.
if I had Nick look at the ratings for the 1977 U.S. Open versus the ratings of 2017 final U.S. Open, I'm telling you, it's probably a third of what it used to be. It's because
could be.
they do not promote the sport properly.
Could be. Anyway, you want me to
You don't
talk
ever
about
see-
last
I didn't know
night's
that they
match
were
was
playing.
And the thing too,
incredible.
in fairness to them,
Great
who
match.
knew? Who knows that these are going to
You
go
know, it's going to be a 5-hour
right?
match.
And the guy he played with is
Dominic Thiem,
is
an
a good-
Austrian. He's
good-
very good.
good player.
He's just slightly like second tier.
Exactly,
Slightly. But
exactly.
this was a great match.
But-
and I love these guys. They're so gracious. I mean, I'll give you the end. The weirdest thing was Nadal going for his 18th major. Of course, a former clay court specialist, still is, but he's pretty good on any court. He lost. He got bageled in the first set. I'm watching the first set. He got nothing. 6-love team first set. People are going, what was that? But he came back, won the second set, third set, and Rafa played a lousy tiebreak in the fourth set that kicked it into the fifth set. The fifth set, they're just slugging it out, totally even. Goes to 6-6. Of course, Nighthawk, you're saying, these idiots, the match ended at 2:15. Guess what? If that had been the French or Wimbledon, the match wouldn't have ended with the tiebreaker. They would have kept playing the famous John
Right.
Isner match.
About 5 years ago.
70-68.
right. Do you remember that?
Went for like a
Who are the
week or
two-
something.
Who are the two?
I do remember that.
John
yeah,
Isner,
yeah.
the tall American,
Yeah.
against maybe a
70 to
Frenchman
68.
in the fifth
Yeah.
set. Anyway,
I do remember
Yeah.
watching. part
and
of
John
that.
McEnroe's making the point saying, hey, these other guys have got to they've got to do the tiebreak in the fifth set. Anyway, they do that in the U.S. Open. So it goes to a tiebreak, again, back and forth. It's 5-5. You got to win. You got to get to 7,
Right.
win by 2. At 5-5, team looked like he had Nadal just going way over to the right, just barely got the return back. And team makes maybe his worst mistake, I guess you could say that of the night, by hitting an overhead, I guess, into the net. So at that point, Nadal's got a match point. Anyway, no, actually, that was the match point I'm talking about. Nadal's up 6-5. He's got a match point, and he just barely gets the ball back. It looks like it's going to go to 6-6, and then team, I think, just hit it into the net. But just quickly, Rafa just, run and jumps over the net, and they embrace. I mean,
I saw
you can
that.
be sure. I mean, really nice. Saying
And I felt bad.
nobody. I hated to
athletes
see somebody lose that match.
in such great shape now. But Roger Federer, age kind of did him
37.
in.
No, but Federer still he had a lousy match the other night.
Right.
Federer's still a very good
But
player.
he admitted the heat got to him.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
no, he did.
you know how hot it was today.
sure.
You don't have to say, "Hey Hawk, how hot was it?" But I mean, that's what they've been playing down in Queens.
The big break, Rafa, just kind of a quirk of the schedule. Of course, this match ends, as you said, a little after 2 a.m. Wednesday morning. They get a break. Rafa doesn't have to play another great match. He had a great match with Martin Del Potro, Argentine, great guy. They had an incredible match at Wimbledon. They're playing again not until Friday.
Yeah.
But this was great tennis. If you like tennis, this was outstanding.
Yeah.
But you're right, it was kind of late.
Yeah, and the East Coast has been suffering from this heat wave, but the cold
Of
front's
course, you do
coming
make
through tonight.
one point. Now that you mention East Coast, I'm not even thinking of that. For the record, 2 a.m. in New York City is 11 p.m. in L.A. So it's not like everybody in the country is 2 a.m. If you think West Coast, it's not so crazy.
But the populace is west of
But
the
I don't know what they can
Mississippi.
do, Hawk. I mean, they got a ton of matches to do, ton of great matches. A night session's been a big part of New York forever.
I just
and you
think
can be
you
sure
say
the
center
players,
court.
if it's 100 during the day, it was tough last night.
Well, the match started?
March started at 7. Serena won.
No.
I'm sorry, the women's match. The night matches started at 7. Women did their thing for about 2 hours, and the men's match after
That
no more
started-
than a half-hour break. Well,
9:30. it
Yeah,
started last
9:15
night.
or so,
Okay,
9:30.
But
9:30.
but 9:30 for the working class.
yeah.
Is
But again,
bedtime.
my question is, what do you do? You can say, well, why don't they start the night matches earlier? You're gonna run into the day matches. You're dealing with tens of thousands of people. You're dealing with New York.
Then I would say the women's match should have started at 5.
don't
because I can guarantee you there's a lot more people home and watch
I know,
TV
but
at
you're
5 than
I
at
know,
2 o'clock
I
in the
hear, but
morning.
you're not listening. You're running into the day matches. You have 2 sessions, just like I have in Charleston. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
You got
Well-
a ton of matches to deal with.
Yeah.
And if you ever run into rain, now they have roofs and stuff on 1 or 2 of the stadiums. If you run into rain and get delays,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
I understand your point,
Right.
but it's not so easy to correct it.
Then they need to work on scheduling because I'm telling you, the sport is a shell of itself the way it was 40 years ago. And I'm telling you for a fact, and you're a little older than me, it was so popular during the 70s, and there was so much personality and characters among these tennis
Well,
players.
I don't think it's in quite as terrible a shape. If you're watching the U.S. Open
Just
in
the
New
ratings.
York,
I'm telling you, the ratings
okay.
today are just.
okay. Well, there's some just outstanding tennis and stuff.
Oh, dude, it's better tennis today than ever before.
Yeah, I guess you're
ever
right about
before.
that.
Because if you name the top 10 male tennis players, I would say the top 6 probably have played within the last 10 years.
Well, I mean, some of your top guys are obviously Federer, Djokovic, and Nadal, and Serena Williams. So you got some
and
of
the
your
guy,
great players.
Mr. Vanilla, great tennis player, had zero personality. Pete Sampras.
Might be
Pete
a little
Sampras
harsh, but I hear you.
Was a great, but he had zero
outstanding.
personality, and they need a Joe Willie Namath type character to promote that sport.
Yeah. All I know is I saw some outstanding tennis, and I'm glad I stayed awake
right.
for it.
And you
And we got some
even
great
at your
matches
age,
to come.
are still an active tennis player, so you do have passion.
But no, I guess you're right. Ratings.
By the
have
way,
been
I
kind
do
of
want to
shredded.
commend Zach. He's great graphics.
Oh, wow.
Tonight. So Paul, because Paul, Zach, just let you know, was filling in for you last week, and he just came up with a lot of super graphics. So, so I'm glad that you're continuing on with this.
Back to football for a second. This is Boston Herald, their Patriots preview today. I mean, I have good regards for the Boston writers, but gee, this strikes me as a little homerish. Out of 5 writers here, guess how many had the Pats in the Super Bowl?
4.
Good guess. How about 5? How about
5 out of 5?
No, you're right. 4. 4 out of 5.
Well, top of my head,
Boy, I'm not sure. I don't have the Pats in the Super Bowl
who
right
could
now.
supplant without thinking that hard? New
Well,
England.
I mean, who's going to beat them? Jacksonville, maybe.
I just don't.
think
Blake Bortles is not a.
Jacksonville doesn't have the
The one
quarterback
writer who
really.
doesn't have him in the Super Bowl has the Jaguars beating the Pats in the
Yeah.
championship.
I
I'm just concerned
don't
about the
see it.
Pats. They seem kind of thin. Brady, I just get the sense is maybe lost a little bit of his drive. I don't know.
Well, right. Physically, he's fine. Mentally, he may start checking out this year. But there's
somebody's
just.
gotta
I
beat
mean,
him.
Pittsburgh. I might easily make an argument they've underachieved the last 5
So I
years.
guess it's-
They don't play well against
they're
New
not going to
England.
have. If
so
they
it's
don't
still
have
pretty
Le'Veon
easy
Bell, they have no
to
shot.
make the case that they at least get to the Super
Yeah.
Bowl.
Yeah, I guess at this point, 5th of September, I'd be shocked and surprised if New
I
England.
guess I'm
wins the Super Bowl.
suffering, even myself. Pretty serious Pats guy. Just have a bit of Patriots fatigue at this point.
And the thing too is, it's always comes down to injuries. I mean,
Right, sure.
well, who's going to be standing?
Sure.
Come January.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, 2 minutes to go. Quickly on the Giants, quick football. Olivier Vernon has got a high ankle sprain, which they take forever. It's not a serious injury, but it just takes forever.
Yeah.
He's about the only pass rusher they have. They have Jacksonville this Sunday, who play the Patriots.
At Giants or at Jack?
MetLife. Yeah. And just a quick note, not that anyone.
Is that a 1 o'clock game or
1 o'clock game.
1 o'clock?
Patriots are also
I hate
1 o'clock.
I hate 1
I hate
o'clock
1 o'clock games in September. But in the hockey world, which will be paying
Boy,
more
hockey.
attention. Hockey opens up next week. Training camp.
And Celtic, for the record, Celtic exhibition games in a couple weeks this month.
So
this month.
Bad news for Quebec. The Oakview Group, which hopes to bring an NHL team to Seattle, has reached an agreement with the city to renovate Key Arena.
Wow.
Key Arena, as you know, used to be the home of the NBA Seattle Supersonics.
Wow.
It was previously renovated in '95.
And they play hockey in there, I assume.
Yeah, they'll renovate it. They will be able to. The Oakview Group hopes to have an expansion franchise in Seattle by the 2021 season, 2 years from now.
Wow.
And to that end, they'll hold a presentation with the NHL's Board of Governors Executive Committee on October 2nd. And of course, NHL has 15 out west, 16 east. Batman wants another Western team. Seattle is a very good sports town. And Quebec City,
Boy, poor
unless
Quebec. Now
the only
looking
way
good,
I can
huh?
see Quebec, and I don't see them getting in the NHL fire, is one of the southern teams.
Yeah. With the
Don't hold your
Canadian
breath.
exchange rate, though, I don't think we'll ever see.
And that's pretty much the end of
that's-
the conversation.
that's
of
really-
the
that's
exchange.
really
69
sad.
cents for the dollar.
Are you?
No, I think you're a little low.
That's what, and Hannaford's, that's what we have written.
But
is
I hear,
69 cents for the dollar.
CJ, I hear this every
Okay,
day. It's about
so-
76 cents.
Okay, so I got
That's
to wrap
maybe
it up.
what they do.
That concludes this edition of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. For our director, Zach, the Duke, Nick, I'm the Nighthawk, and I'll guarantee you one thing. Next week, I'll be sitting over there And remember, you don't have to be a great athlete to be a good sport. Ciao for now.